look what I have.
Is that the catnip mouse?
Were you sleeping?
He was.
Do you want that? Oh, do you want it? Here. Get it, kitty. Get it.
He's just eating the catnip off of it.
Is it good? So, I don't know if you guys remember Stewie or not, but this is our shared... Oh, you're going to fall off the bed. This is our shared custody cat with our neighbor. And he, I had shared with you guys, he was acting funny about a month ago. And we ended up not seeing him for a couple days. And then we asked the neighbors if they had seen him, and they said no. And Rylan went outside and called him, and he kind of came limping back across the street. And he just wasn't acting right. And so we called the neighbors, and we told them he was home, but he was sick. And he was meowing a lot when you touched at the base of his tail. So we didn't know if somebody had kicked him, if he had gotten hit, if he got stuck in a fence. Because he's predominantly their outdoor cat. Which is how we got to know him, is because he was outside all the time. So anyway, they took him in and couldn't really find anything wrong with him. And so they did a round of antibiotics and they did a dewormer on him because he had just dropped so much weight. And so he went back home with them for a few days, and my neighbor called and asked if he could come basically hang out with us for a while, because they had family stuff going on and people coming and going, and they didn't want him sneaking outside while he was on antibiotics. And I was like, yeah, definitely. So when he came back, he was even skinnier, and he looked horrible.
He's
and
rubbing at it.
Oh no, he's happy. He he was so skinny. And so we spent the next week, he stayed with us for 4 or 5 days, just fattening him up. My mom gave him a food from her kitty, who's like 20 years old, to help put weight back on him. And oops, I'll get it. And he was starting to actually look really, really good. Here, do you want it? And, you know, kind of acting back to normal, but not quite. He just wasn't quite the same. And so anyway, he finished his round of antibiotics, and, you know, he went back to just kind of coming back and forth between the two houses, and, you know, primarily our house, but, you know, back and forth between the two. And then we had we had a really bad week of snow and really cold, and so we just kept him in the house with us. And the night of Halloween, as a matter of fact, when we were doing trunk or treat, we came home, and he was just sleeping on my bed. And my oldest ended up having a really bad asthma attack because of the cold, and we were using play sand for a litter box, and the sand was just messing with her asthma. And so I had her sleep in the room so that I could just watch her breathing. She did a treatment, and she was staying in my room. And so I wasn't really sleeping all that much, but I had finally dozed off. And I had to stretch my leg because I was getting a cramp. And when I stretched, she bumped him. And then he meowed, which woke the dogs up. The dogs yelped. And she grabbed him and pulled him onto her chest. And then there was just wetness everywhere. And she was like, did he just go pee on me? And it was like, I don't know. You know, it was 1:30 in the morning. And so we turned the lights on. We stripped the bed because there was definitely a bad smell. Trying to get the bed remade with clean sheets and stuff because my husband had to go to work the next morning, and we didn't. So I was trying to get him situated before I looked at the cat. And I went to the bathroom, and he had an abscess burst. So I don't know if you can kind of see that hole there. This is so much better than what it was when it first burst.
You made him angry.
No, he's happy. Yeah, so it had burst. And so I called the neighbor the next day, and I was like, hey, can I have permission to take him in And she was like, yeah, definitely. And so thankfully, one of my very dear friends is a vet tech, and she was able to help me get him in to be seen because it was a huge, gaping hole there. And so they gave him a very strong antibiotic, and we ran a few tests and just cleaned it out. And so we've been doing warm compresses on it. And do you see that? We've been doing warm compresses on it, and oh, he's under the influence. Bad kitty. Are you under the influence? Huh? Doing warm compresses on it and then cleaning it out with a saline solution. And, in just a few days now, it has healed up tremendously. And I have just been so thankful we didn't have to take him back in to get stitches. We were just praying. The blessing in all of this is that on Halloween Day, I had a dear friend of the family meet me, and she gave us a whole tank of gas, even though I told her, we were okay, we didn't need it. She said she just felt like God told her to do it. And so I was like, okay, I'm not going to argue with God. And so we took the gas, and we sat and had a nice chat with her. And then right before I left, she handed me a gift card for $100, a Visa gift card. And I was like, what's this for? And she's like, well, that's from my son. He said, God told him to give it to you. And I was like, I just don't understand. Like, I don't feel right about this. And she said, just take it. He will be upset. And okay. I was like, well, I don't need it. I'll use it to spoil my kid extra for her birthday, or, for our anniversary or something. And then that night is when Stewie's abscess burst. And the bill came to $150, basically. $60. It was 160, I guess. Because we had to get him a special cone of shame so that he couldn't lick, and special cat litter and stuff too. But yeah, that was God's provision, and I am just so thankful for being blessed with a friend who loves animals and has a heart for them. She has just been such a huge part of my life and in the journey with our animals. I'm so thankful and blessed that the doctor was willing to take this cat in with his butt being burst open. I'm so thankful and blessed that I have friends that, for whatever reason, had it on their heart to help us out. And I cried. I literally cried when we were coming back from the vet with this very sick cat with this huge hole in his bottom down here, that we had been given that money because we wouldn't have been able to do it on our own. We had my little Chihuahua had hurt himself a couple weeks prior. And so we had that vet bill that we were still, Stewie, we were still trying to catch up from. And then my other dog had an impacted anal gland that was before that. So we had that vet bill. And then when he first got sick, we chipped in with our neighbors because we love this stupid cat. And so we had 3 vet bills back to back. And I tell you what, I know that we were being taken care of. And there's no doubt in my mind that even the little things that, people don't see as being an answer to prayer, it was an answer to prayer. This cat is such a blessing to us. He has brought us closer to our neighbors. He has brought me joy.
Stop being goofy.
He's under the influence. Leave him alone. This cat was in so many of my videos this summer, just following us around out there. And, he's just become such a part of our lives. And after all was said and done, my neighbors, they brought money over to help out with the vet bill for us this time. And, she was just saying, why don't you just let him stay over there with you guys? And I was like, I don't want to take your cat. It was their daughter's cat. And I don't want to take your cat. And she was like, he likes it better over there. He loves you guys. Like, when he's over at our house, he just stares at the door and wants to go back. And I'm like, oh, this traitorous cat has 2 families that love and adore him, and he's being so mean. But at the same time, we're so thankful. Like, I don't know what it is that's magical about this cat, but for whatever reason, we can be around him and not get sick. The 2 kitties that we have, their dander their dander makes us so sick. But this guy can be around us, and he doesn't set any of our asthma off. He doesn't eat my house plants. He looks at the birds, but he hasn't tried to hurt them. You know, he looks at the bunnies. We don't fully trust him. Like, we wouldn't leave him alone with them, but he, you know, he's just magical, and he's become such a part of our life. And so I guess this is the official meet our cat, Stewie, because he is the newest member of our family. He doesn't belong here, and yet here he is. The way things have transpired, and, you know, God being in the details and having loving friends that support. This cat has been so loved by so many, and so many people have come together to take care of him and, you know, get him healthy again. So anyway, that's our official meet Stewie, the newest part of our family. Stewie, kitty, kitty, kitty.
Stewie.
So, yeah, that's our cat. Welcome to the family in the household, dude. Officially now. Hey, we love you, you little punk. All right. Excuse me. So, I guess we'll see you next time. Grow as you go. We love you guys. Have a good night. Hey.
He wants to try and touch it.
What are you doing, huh? What do you see? What do you see? Are you ready to eat? Tell your child. Oh, by the way, I am going to include the pictures from when he first had his abscess. So if you don't want to see that, stop the video now. Don't look any further. But for those of you that want to see how big miracles can be and how quickly, go ahead and look on, because it was huge and it has healed so quick. Hey, no, that's not decent. That's not decent. Stop it. You're on film. Okay, I'll let you guys go. We'll see you next time.